Alright everybody, welcome to the Viking Radio Network. This is a YouTube video that is sponsored in the Canteen Cup YouTube sphere. However, it is mainly directed towards the Viking Radio Network or those ham radio operators that are Vikings. If you are a Viking, I'm going to send you, if you are a member of the Viking Radio Network, I will send you an email with a link to this video. However, feel free to share this video. I have it where it's just not listed. It's, we'll call it semi-private, but it's really not. I'm just keeping it off my other channel. That being said, I know you guys have heard a lot of things and have seen a lot of things going on over the past week or so, and this is an opportunity for ham radio operators or Viking radio operators to check their preparedness too. Now, you know, how do we do that? What does that look like? Well, if you are a stationary radio operator, and we have some of those, in other words, you mainly operate out of your home, then you need to make sure that your primary systems are in order. Do your radios work? If you have an amplifier, does it work? Does your antenna tuner work? Is your coax good? Is your antenna? How is your antenna? Is it still up in the air? Have you went out and looked at it lately? You know, test your equipment. If you use digital modes, make sure that your computer can still talk to your radio and that both of them together can transmit a message to somebody somewhere. If you are a WinLink user, send an email to one of your other accounts to make sure your WinLink is working. You know, everybody should have some form of backup regardless of whether they are portable or stationary in their operations. You know, do you use a deep cycle marine battery? Do you have solar power? Do you have a generator? Whatever you use, make sure that that part of your system is working. It's very important to make sure that you can continue to be able to provide communications to the people you serve. For you people that operate portable stations, you know, take that thing out of its box and test it. I just took my radio out last day or so and made sure it works. I made sure I had battery power for it. I made sure that my backup systems are in operation. I made sure my bags are packed. My portable antennas are packed. I checked them for condition. I didn't string them out this time just because I know their condition hasn't changed from when I packed. But I went through my boxes and I checked to make sure I still had everything I needed to operate in a portable manner. So if you are, you know, if you are a member of the Viking Radio Network, you know, I say that our mission, our goals, our vision is twofold. One is to be able to provide communications between Viking groups when times are bad. The other is to help Viking groups find Viking ham radio operators so that we can have that intergroup communication. And as a part of that, you've got to be able to communicate when things aren't exactly perfect. And we need to make sure that we can do that. We need to make sure that our backups are working. We need to make sure our primary stations are working. We need to make sure we have alternate means of power. And that doesn't mean, you know, if you have in your primary station, if you have a radio with a 1,000-watt amplifier, you know, your backup may not be as robust. In other words, you may not have enough power to operate that amplifier, but you can still put out 100 watts on your primary radio as long as, you know, using backup power. So I'm suggesting that everybody check their equipment, make sure it's working. And one way I'm going to recommend that you do that is if you're not a member of AMRON, and that's spelled AMRRON, and I'll put a link up, then you need to join AMRON. That's a really good group for emergency communications. They provide lots of training. They have lots of nets that you can practice on. I'm going to say that they are quasi-private. In other words, they do not mingle your call sign, your tactical call sign that they use with your amateur radio license. They kind of keep those all separate. And so that's why I say it's probably, you know, for having to have a government license to operate, this is probably the best gig you're going to have as far as being, you know, semi-private. But I do recommend AMRON. I'm a member of AMRON. I am a core member of AMRON. I'm also one of their net control stations. So there you have it. I'm out there. And for providing emergency communications and training for emergency communications, I have not found a better gig. And I've been doing this for about 25 years. And so I recommend that members of VRN become members of AMRON. If anything, just get the training. You don't have to be a core member. You don't have to be an NCS. But to check into their nets, to test your digital capabilities, to learn about digital capabilities, you know, there's no reason for us to reinvent the wheel when there's already a good system out there. So I recommend it. And if you are an AMRON member, then take advantage of all the training and all the opportunities they give you to use your equipment and to make sure it works. Again, it's the best gig in town. It's better than anything I can do because it's nationwide. They got people all over the place. You know, train with them, and there's nothing. You know, train with them and work with us is really kind of the motto. And there's no reason why you cannot be both a member of AMRON and a member of ZRN and do both at the same time when things go bad. There's no reason why you cannot. Also, too, there's a lot of intelligence to be gathered through AMRON that you can provide to your groups, and that's the purpose of AMRON. So, you know, if you're gonna start telling me OPSEC, bro, then, you know, you have an amateur radio license, okay? And if you're afraid to get an amateur radio license because of what you feel is a security breach, then you don't need to be a member of VRN, mainly because we need to operate and we need to practice and we need to train, and this is how you do it. You know, the amateur radio service is designed for emergency communication. That is the charter by the FCC to provide emergency communication. So you are only operating within the confines of what the government wants you to do when you operate with groups like ZRN or AMRON or ARIES or any one of the other organizations out there that provide similar, Red Cross, similar services. So get out there and get trained. Be as proficient as you can. Be as good as you can. Be as knowledgeable as you can. And be ready, willing, and able to provide communication services. We take communications for granted in today's world, where you carry the world in your shirt pocket. But when these cell phones go down, when the internet's no longer available, you know, whatever doomsday scenario that you wish to use, there will be amateur radio, and we will be able to communicate not only within a group but group to group, and that's going to become very important because groups will have to band together and coordinate together the things that they need to do in order to survive. So that's all I got. Just a quick note to my BRN, for you guys that are members, I really appreciate you stepping up to the plate, and I really appreciate your interest in trying to help the Viking groups as much as you can. For you potential new members, welcome. I ask very few questions of you. Send me an email, and I'll post the email up in the link. And you know, join us. Again, I strongly recommend everybody join Amron. That's the best training you can get right now. And so I ask everybody to stay safe and stay secure, and we will see you out there.